So once again, welcome to the Unshakable Foundation meeting of Cocaine Anonymous. This is a main share meeting, and today it's with great pleasure and lots of gratitude that we welcome Monica C, who's come to share on the topic of God for up to 40 minutes, after which we'll open up the room for the Q&A portion of the meeting. And with that, it's over to you, Monica. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Isaac. Hello, everyone. My name is Monica, and I'm a very grateful alcoholic. Hello. I'm starting my timer. First off, thank you so much, Young, for asking me to be of service today, wherever you are in the world. I'm so grateful to be able to speak at any meeting that I have the opportunity to and get asked for. I always like to start off with a few things. The first thing is that I do like to mention that I pray before each meeting that I speak at, and I ask God to speak through me. I ask God to use me as a vessel to give whatever message it is that He needs me to give, and to just allow me to speak from the heart, to allow me to be open, honest, vulnerable, cry if I have to cry. And my friends know me here, and I cry a lot. I'm a huge crybaby. And so that's just a little heads up. If there's anything that I say that offends anyone, I do like to say, tell your higher power to talk to my higher power and they can hash it out, because I have absolutely nothing to do with this. It's all God. And I have a sponsor, and I sponsor other alcoholics in Alcoholics Anonymous. Doesn't matter what they identify as long as they're willing to do the work to get recovered. And who am I to say no to someone because of whatever it is they identify as? So that's just my sponsor didn't tell me how to sponsor. I just followed my sponsor's steps. My sponsor is someone that I look up to and has guided me to be able to live the life that I get the opportunity to live today. And my sponsees also sponsor the same way. And yeah, I get to be of service today. So whenever I get asked to speak at any meeting, I like to say yes if I'm able to. I'm just so grateful to have a message that someone that wants to hear about me. And so it's always an honor and a privilege to be a part of any meeting and give a message of recovery. And I host a 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time meeting every single night, and it's been a huge part of my recovery as well. And it's not something that I feel that I need to do, or it's not something that I feel like a task or a chore. It's just something that I get the opportunity to also be a part of and show up every single night and just be there and have a beautiful meeting. And I'm the secretary and chair for my home group. My home group is the Coral Gables group of here in Miami, Florida. And it's been that group has shown me everything that I have today as well when it comes to service and different service positions that I've been tricked into being a part of. And it's amazing, all the things that I get the opportunity to be a part of today. And I don't say these things to say like I'm so great. I'm so amazing. I'm better than anyone because I do all this service. It's just things that are a part of my recovery today, and they've been huge parts of it as well. So I have a sobriety date. It's April 13 of 2018, and I've been sober for 6.5 years. And they've been the most amazing 6.5 years of my life. Even the parts that didn't feel so amazing at the time. Each part in my sobriety have been huge experiences, huge things that have allowed me to grow in my recovery. And yeah, so this isn't my first time in this program. The first time I came around and they gave me all these suggestions. They told me to get a sponsor and to work the steps and to talk to other women in the program and pray and meditate and all these things. And I didn't take any of them. And so 30 something days later, I picked up a drink thinking that I could do this. I could control my drinking. Maybe it'll be different this time. Maybe this, maybe that. And it wasn't. 2 years later, I found myself wanting to die. And it wasn't it wasn't 2 years later that I decided I wanted to die. It was when I acted on wanting to die. But those 2 years were just, it was just the same thoughts over and over and over. And I don't like to stick too much into what it was like, but I do always like to mention that the emotions that were there, because I feel like we can all relate to how it was, and the not coming home for days, or binging, and not knowing where your car is the next day, or your keys, or your wallet, or deleting text messages the next day to pretend that everything you did the night before didn't happen, or ruining relationships, or cheating on someone, or hitting a car, or throwing up all over, or whatever it is. I've been there. I've done that. I've done a lot of things. And I think the most important thing when it comes to what it was like is the emotion and the feeling of what it was like, because I didn't know that it wasn't normal to feel lonely, and to feel sad, and to feel depressed, and to feel like I was unlovable, or to feel like I could never love, or to feel like I have no one in this world, or to feel like every morning I wanted to wake up. Every morning that I would wake up, I wanted to die. And so every morning I would say, why am I still here? What am I still doing here? What is my purpose in life? And I had no idea. Every day was just like, why? Why am I still alive? I need to die. I want to die. Because I couldn't see anything else. I couldn't see any other life but that life that I lived for so long, of just the same thing over and over, the same emotions, the same feelings. And no matter what I did to try to change that, nothing worked. Not changing the different kinds of alcohols, not trying not to drink so I wouldn't do cocaine, trying not to drink or do cocaine so I wouldn't have sex with whatever random person. It was just this craziness. And it wasn't getting me anywhere. And so one day I said, this is it. I'm going to try to attempt a suicide. And so I laid in the bathtub next to my room, ready to die. And I didn't die. I'm still here. I made it. And it's not my first suicide attempt, but it is my last. And I still can't believe it. So that suicide attempt brought me back into these rooms. I remember being admitted into a psych ward, hitting my knees and saying, God, please help me. I don't know what I'm doing here, but I know how I got here. I just need your help. And I had no idea who I was praying to. I had no idea what was going to come from that. I just knew that I was done. I just knew that I needed something to get me out of that feeling, that emotion of wanting to die. And Young was asking me, what's your topic? And I think that's my least favorite question to ever answer, because what topic? Like, how can I ever, put a message of recovery into a topic? And so I said, God. He said, perfect. And because that's exactly, I always end up going back to that one topic of God. And I don't know if there's anyone new here. I don't know if anyone's in their, well, I know there's someone in here first 12 days, I think, or anyone else in their first year, anyone else that's struggling. If you hear the topic God and it scares the crap out of you, I'm trying not to, and it scares the crap out of you, I get it. But it's not, I don't want to say God to scare you. Because I'm going to admit that when I came into these rooms, I would hear people talk about God. I would hear people pray. I would hear people say higher power. I would hear people say whatever conception their God is. And I would be terrified. I would run out of the rooms because I didn't want anything to do with it. Because I grew up with this conception of a God that's punishing, and I'm going to hell if I don't wash dishes. I'm going to hell if I don't come back by a certain time. I'm going to, like, all these things. And so I was terrified. And I have to mention that, because I get it. I understand what it's like to come in here and hear all these people talking about this God thing or higher power thing, and be like, what? That's not, they say you have two alternatives. One to blot out into the bitter and something like that. I'm horrible at quoting the big book. And the other one is to accept spiritual help. And it's like, what else? Is there door number 3? Is there something else that you guys can give me? No. But this saved my life. It saved my entire life. And I couldn't imagine my life any other way today. So I came into these rooms. I said my name was Monica. I'm an alcoholic. And the whole room, yes, welcome. We're glad you're here. Yeah, cheering. Yeah, woo, woo. And I was like, no, simmer down. Why is everyone so joyful? Why is everyone so happy that I'm here? I feel like dying. But I get it today. Today, I get to be that person that's so excited, so happy to see someone come in here on their first day. Because I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to be in that chair, in that moment of not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing where I'm going to go, not knowing if I'll ever feel any sort of happiness ever again in my life. I know that feeling. And if someone would have told me that day that I sat in that chair and said, this is what your life will look like 6.5 years from now, I would say, there's no way. Absolutely not. Impossible. Me cheerful, me enthusiastic, me joyful, me loving, me caring, absolutely not. Because I didn't know anything but being hateful. I didn't know anything but being cold, but thinking that being a bully was fun and cool. Being a cold-hearted person was cool. I thought all of that was cool. I didn't know anything else. And coming in here and working the steps, it got me to this whole new life that I get to live today. I worked my steps my first year in the rooms, and I started sponsoring, and it was all cool, but there was always something missing, because when I would leave the rooms, because I had all these friends in AA, I had all these friends, we would go out dancing, we'd go eat, we did all these events together, and I said, okay, this is cool, I can do this. I could keep coming back to these meetings and having friends. But when I would leave these meetings and I wasn't around these friends, every time something happened, I still felt like dying. There was still something missing. It was like everything was crashing down because something wasn't going Monica's way. It was horrible. And I didn't know. I was like, okay, if this is what AA is, fine. Maybe I could do this. I thought that was it. But then I started, the room started shutting down because of the pandemic, and I started meeting people from all over the world, and I started meeting people that were excited, that were enthusiastic, that were joyful. People that were talking about recovery, people that weren't just talking about it, but they were demonstrating recovery. People that were talking about God. And at this point, I think it was 2 years, about 2 years sober, and I had a conception of a God. But I was still so scared. I was still full of fear. And I would hear people, talk loudly about their conception of a God and be so happy and so trusting and reliant on God and all these things. And I said, how? Because remember, I was shut out against this idea of God. And so I started off by putting some words together that I thought would make up a God of my understanding, a God that I would want God to be. Loving, caring, powerful, forgiving, understanding. And so that's the God I started praying to, these 5 words. And it helps, it started off by just saying, good morning, God. Well, it wasn't good morning, God, not yet. It was just, keep me sober today, God. Amen. That's it. And I thank you for keeping me sober today, God. Amen. Nothing else. It was like that for a long time. And little by little, I started adding more to my prayers. And little by little, every time, now that I'm thinking of it, every time I added more to my prayers, God became a little bigger. Instead of the 5 words, God became butterflies. I had this beautiful experience with this butterfly, with these butterfly things, where I was on this hike, and it was this long hike in Montana, and it just felt so dreadful. And then out of nowhere, I said, God, if you're here, I want to feel your presence. Can you bring me some butterflies, please? And out of nowhere, a swarm of butterflies came all around me, all the way to the end of my hike. And I said, if God isn't real, I don't like, this is God. And I know if anyone here is like, she's crazy, I get it. It sounds crazy. It sounds out of this world. Like, there's no way she's making this up. I get that. Yeah. But that's just the first of many experiences. Little by little, butterflies became nature and flowers and trees and mountains and oceans and rivers. Everything. God became everything. And not just everything, but this is where it becomes even more beautiful. God became everyone too. People. I got to see God in people. I would have never imagined being able to see God in other people. And then not just in people, but love. It just became a whole thing of like, God is love. God is patience. God is everything. How am I supposed to even describe what God is? It's everything. And so, I started meeting all these people, and I was so fearful because I didn't know how to talk about my conception of God. And I was terrified that I was going to scare people away. I was scared of people knowing of my relationship with God for some reason. It was just like a little bit of embarrassment, a little bit of guilt, a little bit of, I didn't want to run newcomers away. But now I get to speak so freely when it comes to God. Because it's this experience that I came in as someone that was opposed to all of this, to a person that now picks God as a topic to speak at a meeting. There's no way you can make that up. And so I got a new sponsor, and around 2 years sober. And this person, I heard this person speak on this meeting, this person on the meeting that I was hosting. And he started sharing about rocket ships being catapulted into the fourth dimension of existence. And I had read the book before, but I had no idea where this rocket ship was. I had no idea where this fourth dimension was. I was confused, and I was like, I want to get on that rocket ship, sir. Can I get a ride? And I had no idea where it was coming from. He started sharing the difference between sobriety and recovery. And I realized that I was just sober, but I wasn't recovering. And then I heard about his experience with his wife and how his wife was dying. They found out she had cancer. They didn't know how long she had to live, and she was dying. But every morning they would wake up and they would laugh. They would love. They were joyful. She was dying and they were still full of joy and love. Like I heard that and I was like, that's what I want. I want to be able to get through anything in this life with that amount of joy, with that amount of enthusiasm. And it wasn't until recently where I realized, like, oh my gosh, I'm finally living that life where I literally get to go through anything in this life. I get to go through it with grace, with God, with people, with love. It doesn't mean that there's no pain, that there's no tears, because like I said, I cry a lot. And I get hurt. I'm a human being and I get hurt. But there's always so much love that comes out of everything, that overpowers everything. And what is that but God? I get to go through everything with God. And so I was able to rework my stuff with this new sponsor. And it was this whole thing that I realized that I hadn't abandoned myself utterly to my God. I was still very much, I thought I was in control. I was still trying grasping on to for dear life, trying to control everything around me, control people, control situations, everything. And so I had this beautiful experience with my steps, reworking my steps. I had this beautiful experience with my 4-step that I was able to like put things down that I had never thought I would ever have to bring to light ever again in my life. And then I got to have this beautiful experience in step 5, where it was just me and this other person. And it was this, oh gosh, it was this beautiful thing where I got to be fully myself fully in front of this one other person that I trust, that looked at me with love, even through all the things that I was mentioning, all the things that I was sharing, still looking at me with love, with no judgment, naked in front of this person, this intimacy, this other way of intimacy that I had no idea existed. Just ripping the mask off, just me and this other human being. And right after that, I felt that nearness of my creator. I felt the love coming into my life, into my heart. Me and this other person wrapped in this God blanket, this blanket of love. It was like this warm hug. And then I realized that as I've been going on through my life, like it started with one person, this God blanket thing. And today, everyone that I meet becomes a part of my God blanket. Everyone that I meet today becomes intertwined into my life, into my soul. How beautiful that everyone, 45 other people in here tonight, are a part of my God blanket, whether you like it or not. Sorry. You know, and it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And then I go on and I realized that the first time I worked my steps, I didn't care about steps 6 and 7. It was like I did 4, 5, and then I jumped over to 8 and 9. And I didn't realize how important steps 6 and 7 are. I thought it was just like, read these 2 paragraphs and go on with the rest of my life. Nope. Was I so wrong? I realized that one of the biggest things that I was missing is this whole thing about every single day doing what I have to do for God, striving for the perfection in God's eyes, not for Monica's objectives. And then I get to do everything for God. It doesn't matter what I have. It doesn't matter what I don't have. It doesn't matter what I get. It's just this whole thing about everything I do is whatever God needs me to do. It's not about progress, not perfection, maybe next time. No, it's what can I do better? What can I do today? Is this action right now going to draw me closer to God or further away from God? That's how I get to live my life today. It might sound maybe like not possible or something, but everything that I do today is just that. Is this going to get me closer to God or further away from God? How am I going to feel about my relationship with God after this? Am I striving for my ideal for God or Monica's? And today it's like, who would have thought that this is how I would be living my life today? Not me. You know, that everything I do today is not only for God, but for everyone else around me in my life. It's not about me. What can I do? What can I get from this? What do I need? What do I have? I need the best job. I need the best car. I need the best house. I need the best boyfriend. I need the best kids. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I don't have any of those things right now. I don't have a job. I don't have a car. I don't have a house of my own. I don't have a boyfriend. My dating life is, yeah, that's a different story. But anyway, that none of those things matter. The past year has probably been one of the hardest years. I haven't had a job for over a year. I had to move from another country back home. But guess what? My parents were home and they said, welcome back. We're here. We're here to hold you. And I haven't had a job. I haven't been able to find my own place. I don't have a car. But guess what? It's been the most amazing year of my life. My dog passed away almost July 30th, July, August, September, October, 3 months ago tomorrow. And it was heartbreaking. It was so heartbreaking because I never thought I would have to go through that. And that was actually when I was talking to my sponsor and I said, I actually am living the life that I saw in you. That I get to go through everything. Because things don't happen to me. They don't happen. It's not God saying, this is going to happen to you right now. You need to suffer. You need to go through pain. No. Every experience that I get the opportunity to have today is just something that I get to grow from, that I get to learn from, that I get to experience. One of the last things was I was experiencing this whole I don't want to say deportation, but I was moving from a country to another country, and I remember the first thing was telling my sponsor, I can't wait to see how I can help another person with this. How can I help another person with the experiences that I'm going through today? You lost your job? Well, great. I haven't had a job in the past year, and guess what? I am A-fucking okay. Sorry. I am A-okay. Gosh, I was doing so good. Okay. I'm better than okay. I usefully whole today. Happy and usefully whole. That's not the person I came in as. Remember, I didn't have a purpose. I wanted to die. I didn't know what I was doing here. I was alone. I was miserable. And today I get to live happy and usefully whole. No matter what. There's this paragraph that I really love in the big book. It's on page 100. I feel like I have to read it. It's one of my favorite paragraphs. I have so many favorite paragraphs. It says, both you and the new man must walk day by day in the path of spiritual progress. If you persist, remarkable things will happen. When we look back, we realize that the things which came to us when we put ourselves in God's hands were better than anything we could have planned. Follow the dictates of a higher power, and you will presently live in a new and wonderful world, no matter what your present circumstances. Meaning, no matter what is going on in my life, I can still live in this new and wonderful world. No matter what. Through death, through tears, through pain, through hurt, through sadness, through anything. Job or no job, wife or no wife, whatever. I get to live this life today. You know, reworking my steps, the last time I reworked my steps, I realized that this whole step 8 thing, I can have the best possible relationship with every human being I know. I remember reading that and I was like, that's crazy. There's no way. But it changed my whole perception of what step 8, step 9, everything. To this day, I get to look at people and say, is this the best possible relationship that I can have with this person? Sometimes it's yes. Maybe next time it'll get better. Like maybe in the future, God will put someone in my path and this will get better. But I get to look at people that way today. I get to look at people with patience, with love, with tolerance. I get to hear my parents talk beautifully about me. I get to have relationships with people. My parents has been the most amazing transformation of relationships I've ever had. I've had in my recovery. It's you know, people that I worried to death, that I put through hell and back, that I didn't answer their phone calls for days, that I didn't, who knew where, they didn't know where I was for days at a time. And now today they get to have the daughter. My dad quoted this. My dad said this word for word. He said, today I get to have the daughter that I never thought I would have. I didn't ask him to say, he was saying that to a group of our family members. And I was just there and I was like, what? And that's the beautiful thing about this, that I get to continue. Once he said that, I was like, okay, my job here is done. I can go back to being a horrible human being. I get to continue being that daughter they never thought they'd have. I get to be trustworthy. I get to be loving. I get to be patient. I get to be tolerant. And I keep saying those words. I know I do. Because there's so many people in this world. There's so many people that I get to come across every single day. And how am I showing up with these people? Am I showing up as just Monica? Is what Monica wants to be, what Monica wants to say, how Monica wants to act? Or am I showing up with God? Am I showing up with love? Because there are people out there that test me. There are people out there that can annoy me, that can irritate me, whatever word you want to use. I'm still human. But what do I do? Do I retaliate? Do I show them who's boss, who not to mess with? Or do I demonstrate through God? Do I demonstrate with love, with patience, with kindness, with tolerance, with understanding? Because if anyone needs love, it's that person. If anyone needs to be shown that love from God, it's that person. The person that's sick, the person that's struggling, the person that wants to gossip about me, whatever it is. The person that hurts my friends. They need love. They need love probably more than anyone else. And so I get to be a part of that. And I don't do that by myself, because I said I'm not this angel girl that, it's a perfect. I'm not. But every morning I get to wake up and I get to say, good morning, God. Surprise me, show me, inspire me, guide me. Come into my thoughts and take over. What are we going to do today? What? I'm here. I'm awake. I'm ready. I'm aware. And I get to go out throughout my whole entire day with this vision of God, this love. My whole entire day. It's not just wake up, pray, and then go out and be a jerk to all these people. It's go out and carry God's will. Be an agent of God. Do whatever it is that God needs me to do. And God inspires me every day, and God surprises me every single day. Sometimes I say, all right, God, chill out. There's a little bit too many surprises now, but I get to be that person today. I would have never ever thought or expected that to be the life that I get to live today. Okay. And this whole show me, guide me, I get to go out through my day with God's eyes. I ask God, show me how to be patient, show me how to be loving, show me how to be understanding and tolerant. What can I pack into the stream of life today, God? Show me. And that's literally it. And then throughout my whole day, I get to go on with God in my heart, with God in my soul, with God all around me. And I get to see people through God's eyes. I get to have real relationships with people, not just show up and pretend I'm listening, but actually listen. Actually be present. How it's so crazy that back then I had no idea where I was. I still don't have an idea. And sometimes I'm like, where am I? Is this real life? What am I even doing right now? And it's just right here, right now. Not anything else, but right here, right now, where God is, where you are. It took me so long to figure out that I was like searching for this perfect moment in my life, this perfect day, this perfect favorite day of the year or of my life, whatever it is. Was it my sobriety day? Was it the day I had a spiritual experience? Was it the day that whatever it is, I couldn't figure it out. And it all came down to right here, right now. This is the fourth dimension of existence. This is where I get to get catapulted into whatever it is, the rocket ships, the catapults, the fourth dimension. This is it. I don't have to look further. This is it. Look no further for utopia. We have it right here, right now. It's with us. With us. I get to live on this heaven on earth today. I get to do it with every other person in my life, with God. I wouldn't change it for anything. They say it's not all rainbows and it's not all butterflies, it's not all sunshine. And I get where that's coming from because like I've mentioned a few times, we get hurt, we go through death, we lose jobs, we lose people, we get heartbroken. And I can see where it's not going to feel like rainbows, butterflies, and sunshine. But guess what? It is. I get to live in the world of my Creator today, where everything is exactly the way that He wants it to be for me today. Who am I to say that it's not all rainbows and butterflies because something's going wrong in my life, because something's not going the way that I imagined it? Who am I? I'm just a human being. I'm just a vessel of God. It doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't matter what. I'm just human being, whatever it is that God needs me to do. Do I have aspirations and dreams and stuff? Of course I do. But am I going to go out of my way against God's will to get what I want? No, I could just continue doing whatever it is. I could just continue being here, continue showing up, continue doing whatever it is that I need to do, continue showing love. That's really all it is. That's what it all comes down to is how can I show love? How can I show love today? Who needs the love today? That's it. That's all it is. Who needs this love? Who needs this patience? Who needs me? Who needs some love? I'm here. It sounds crazy. I know. I'm telling you. I know it sounds out of this world. I get it. There's so many times where I say, it can't get any better than this. And then boom, and it gets more wonderful. It says it gets more wonderful as time passes. And I didn't understand it. I didn't believe it. But today I feel it. I get to experience it. I don't have to quote the book perfectly. I don't have to know what page, what quote is on or what paragraph is on what. It doesn't matter. What I get to do today is live this book, experience it, and show others that they can experience it too. Show others that I was broken and I was in that chair at 12 days sober or 30 days sober or 1 year, 2 years sober, and I still wanted to die. I get it. And today I get to live this life. And I get so emotional because I still can't believe it. I really can't. I used to be this girl that was dying in the bathtub, dying, alone, miserable, depressed. And today I get to wake up and say, good morning, God, surprise me, show me, and show love. Come on to a meeting at 4:43 in the afternoon here in Miami, in my parents' house, in my own bedroom. I'm talking about God and love. You can't make this up, guys. Today, I don't have a car, I don't have a job, I don't have this, I don't have any of that, but I have something that's much more amazing than any of this, worth much more. That's my relationship with God. I am spiritually rich today, and I get to go through absolutely anything. I get to see people come into these rooms that like just the way that I did, and I get to see them recover. I get to see people keep coming back. I get to see people hit rock bottom, come back. And people keep coming to me and asking me for help. And I just get to see them carry it. They get to experience it and they get to carry it out into the next person. I'm just so grateful that I get to be a part of every single one of those things. I don't come back to these meetings because I need to stay sober. I come back because I get to be a part of everyone else's recovery. I get to see God come on in your eyes. And so I really hope that anything I said tonight was able to help at least one person in this room. Thank you again so much for asking me to be of service. My name is Monica, and I'm a very grateful alcoholic. Thank you.
And first up, we have Tommy. Would you like to come in with your question, please?
Thank you, Isaac. My name is Tommy. I'm an alcoholic. Monica, that was absolutely incredible. You've blown me away. Thank you. I just love it. I just love the positivity. I'll keep my question brief. Have you been influenced by any particular speaker or speakers from Zoom, for example? That's my question.
Thank you, Tommy. Absolutely. Yes. My sponsor was probably my biggest influence. And yeah, the person I was talking about, going through their one of the hardest times in their life, and seeing them being able to have joy and enthusiasm and do everything with love and God is what influenced me, is what sparked this whole new life. It's knowing that if they can do it, I can also do it too. And so I think that's my biggest. I'm not huge into circuit speakers. I can't tell you name huge people in AA or anything like that, but I do know that one of the closest people that's always in my heart is my sponsor, and it has been a huge influence in my life when it comes to God and recovery. Thank you, Tommy. I hope that helped.
Thank you for your question, Tommy. Before I move on to the next hand up, just got a quick question in the chat. The question is, what was your first experience of getting on the rocket ship?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. Getting on my rocket ship, I think, because here's the thing, I'm on this rocket ship every day, right? But I think my first time was that fifth step experience. It was that nearness of my creator and feeling God in my heart flow through me, all around me. It was at that moment I felt like I was in the now, in the right here, right now, with the God of my understanding. And I want to say that was my first experience feeling that rocket ship into the fourth dimension of existence. Thank you.
Thanks for the question, and thank you, Monica, for your answer. Next up, we have Young. Would you like to come in with your question?
Yeah, thanks, son. Hi, everyone. My name's Young. I'm a recovered addict. Hi, Monica. Thank you so much. Whenever I hear you speak, I'm like, yes. I experienced that too. I'm experienced that as well. And if there's anyone on here, what Monica's saying, that's exactly it. We can feel this. What did you say? Rainbows. And I feel that every day, and I have done for 6 years. I really have, and I can't believe it. And if there's anyone in here that doesn't feel like that, it's there when we live, like Monica said, when we live this stuff. I will get to a question. When you said about those butterflies, I had a similar experience, Monica. About 2 years in, I was meditating by this lake, and this dragonfly landed on my cheek, and I knew at that moment I was now experiencing God. I wasn't just taught, I was experiencing it. I saw. Anyway, back to my question. Thank you so much. It was great to hear you. You said at one point, you realized a few years in you hadn't abandoned yourself entirely. Would you like to expand on that for anyone who might not understand that, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Young. This whole abandoning myself, it's this whole, because I didn't understand what giving my will over to God really meant. I would hear it all the time, and it's the whole like step 3 experience for me. I didn't understand what it was like to fully rely on God. And that's where I was talking about the controlling, like still controlling situations and people and everything all around me. And abandoning myself utterly was the fact that I was able to start experiencing these things where I wasn't trying to fully grasp. Instead, I would lock myself in rooms. I was working. I had this manager that was really driving me crazy. And I think it was around that time where I realized I had this realization. And instead of, lashing out or, fully going into worry mode or fearful mode, I would go into a room at in this mall, and I would hit my knees and I would just say, God, help me, show me what I have to do. Help me I'm giving this over to you. Just show me how to handle this. And that was it. It was just me not controlling it and giving my will over to God. I at one point I was kind of like saying, here, God, physically saying like, here, God, take this from me. Take this. I can't handle this on my own. I need you. And then little by little, this whole physical thing just became not just a prayer, but from my heart. It was like knowing in my heart that God was taking care of everything for me in my heart, in my life. I just had to do my part for God in order for God to take care of everything else. I'm not sure if I went off completely, but I feel like that's the best way that I could describe the abandoning myself utterly to God, fully giving my will over to the God of my understanding. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question and for your answer, Monica. Great question. Next up, we have Sai. Would you like to come in, please?
Hi, I'm Simon. I'm just going in a better room. I am 27 days clean today. Right? I have a sponsor. I have a regime. I have ADHD. I have an illness that's progressive in mind, body, and soul that will never go away. Yes, I'm recovered. I'm recovering and I will recover. But for me, yes, I agree with the butterflies and all the great stuff. But most of us wake up with depression, with an illness, with difficulties. 7 o'clock in the morning, when you've got a disease of mind, body, and soul, and an addictive mind, what I'm asking you is, I have to have a routine. I have set prayers. I have to phone newcomers every day. I have to get out of myself every day. I have to die. I have to have a discipline every day. I have to read the book every day. And most days, I'll be honest with you, it's like being in the army. And I need a routine because when the addiction,
Monica.
when the addiction comes,
Isaac, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Thanks, Sai. Next up, we have a question in the chat. Can you describe your morning routine, please, Monica, and the actions you take to connect with your God?
I was muted too. Of course, thank you. Yeah, my morning routine is I'm extreme routine and disciplined person. And I love that part of the book that says we are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us. And look at me, I'm just quoting the book left to right. I never thought I could do that. But anyway, my first initial thought in the morning is sometimes I open my eyes, sometimes I don't, but it's the first thought is good morning, God, surprise me. And that's just like what gets my whole routine started for me. It's this initial connection that I get to have with God as soon as I wake up. It's crazy, honestly. I still can't believe, but anyway, it's like this initial connection with God. I have a sponsee that had trouble with her routine. And I told her, why don't if you have a relationship or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, whatever it is, the first thing you want to do is pick up your phone and text them good morning, or answer their good morning text, or call them and say good morning. So I say, do that with God. Do that, say good morning to God and show God that you're here. And that's what I get to do. I get to kind of do this whole awake and aware thing with God, saying like, I'm here. And so from there on, I start with my prayer and I say, good morning, God, surprise me, show me what I have to do today, inspire my thoughts, my decision, my everything. And so I go on through my prayer and meditate on that prayer. I meditate about my day ahead, about what I have to do that day. If I'm going to the gym, if I'm, my relationship with my mom, it's a beautiful relationship because it's a roller coaster of a relationship. And we go to the gym together in the morning, 7:30, 8 in the morning. We're leaving the house, and I have to have that discipline, or else I don't know what can happen from the moment I wake up to the moment where I get to start hanging out with my mom for the day. But this whole discipline, sometimes I'm making my bed and I'm still thinking, I'm brushing my teeth and I'm still thinking about my day ahead. I'm getting ready for the gym and it's my whole entire morning is just God. I don't like to say allowing God, because who am I to allow God anything, but just having God come in and like infiltrate everything and just taking over of everything in my life. And by the time I get downstairs, I start making my mom's breakfast or coffee. I start taking the dog out. And throughout this, it's just my time alone with God. And I think that's all of that right there is what gets my morning started to go out throughout my rest of the day with other people. It's like first God and I in the morning, and then bringing people into that meditation, I guess, because for me, meditation isn't just one and done, but it's like a thing where I get to go throughout my whole entire day, just having God inspire my thoughts throughout the whole entire day. And yeah, I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Great stuff. And thank you, Gemma, for your question. So we got 2 questions left in the chat and a hand up. If possible, we'd like to get through all of them if we can, just be quick with the questions. And Charlotte, over to you next. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much, Isaac. Thank you, Young. Thank you, everyone who's in service here. Thank you, Monica. Oh my gosh. Like, even though God is like my favorite just my favorite thing, as soon as I heard you say your topic was God, I thought, oh no, really? Because I thought it was going to go down a boring path. I don't know why I thought that. However, it wasn't in the slightest. What a beautiful share. That was amazing. I am going to slide in. I know I've got to be quick, but I just want to say, like, listening to your butterfly experience, maybe in the past I might have thought, yeah, right. But then once I can remember when it was I hadn't sponsored yet. I'd done my 12 steps and I knew I wanted to and I could. And I was on the phone to someone who needed a sponsor. And before I asked, I was thinking, shall I? What shall I do? And there's these doves that kind of stay around near me, and they flew up in the air and they went one in each corner above my head, and they just stayed there for a moment. And straight away, I just felt it. And I was like, would you like me to sponsor you? It was so bizarre. These things happen and it makes it real. Anyway, as soon as I put my hand up, the question before was going to be my question. However, a bit more specifically, do you have a bar from the big book in the morning, a go-to book that you might read, maybe a meditation book of any kind, or some of us have our separate readings that we do. Like mine is In God's Care, for example. Would you have a book, a favorite book, or a go-to book?
Thanks, Charlotte. I don't actually. I don't. I mean, to me, the big book is everything. And there's been times where I've tried putting a book into my routine in the morning. I tried the daily reflections. I tried the big book. I hear people say, yeah, I wake up and I read pages 86, 87, whatever pages it is. And I tried doing that so many times, but I could never do that. I just felt like it was kind of like restricting me from my connection with God, and for me, without an actual book in the morning, it kind of just lets my everything roam freely with my thoughts and inspiration from God. That's in the morning. I'm not sure if you were asking about the morning or just in general. In general, I love the Big Book and the 12 and 12. They're two of my favorites. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlotte, for your question.